be. We signed a civility.
Maybe he should sign a civility pledge.
Yeah, no doubt.
Did Jen sign it?
I was watching where he met with like the Center for Prevention of Abuse.
Jen. Did you sign that one?
And I'm thinking,
All right.
why is the Center for Prevention of Abuse even be? He's got safety act. Let
Yeah.
users right back out.
Right. It contradicts their stance. Yeah.
Do we have everybody on that? There's no place for you, Chief.
That's okay. That's
got an
okay.
out.
That's okay. I got a bad pen tonight.
You don't have to be civil.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, is that what that is? Hey, I don't. That's right. That's right. You goddamn. Yeah. Well, that's my go-to then. You don't see my signature on that thing.
I didn't have to
Yeah.
be civil.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, man. All right.
He said our meetings are so long, you gotta provide beverages now.
Well, yeah, because I didn't want, unfair work conditions for the union members,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been open for a while. Yeah. It was closed for a little bit, but when you get down there, the pipe stamp was 1915. It was 110 years old, so, yeah, gonna happen. Wow, cool.
It being 5:30, I'll call this meeting of the Peoria Heights Board of Trustees to order. If everyone would please stand for a moment of silent prayer and reflection, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Turner, would you call the roll, please?
Trustee Steinwaddle?
Present.
Trustee Kazam?
Present.
Trustee Simmons?
Present.
Trustee DeVore?
Present.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Present.
Trustee Reichert?
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you all. We're down to the approval of the minutes for the Board of Trustees meeting on October 21st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion. Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Simmons and a second by Trustee Kazam. Are there any additions or changes to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of passing the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are approved. We're down to comments from the audience on agenda items only. If you have a comment, I'd ask that you come to the podium. Please give your name, address, and try to keep your comments to 5 minutes. Public comments going once. Public comments going twice. Comments are closed. We're down to a proclamation that I'd like to make for honoring the Marine Corps on their 250th anniversary. Gentlemen, or whomever would you like to come up to the podium? Okay.
Means a lot to me.
Thank you all for coming. So I'll go ahead and read this. Whereas the United States Marine Corps has stood ready to protect the American freedoms near and far, from shores of Tripoli to the village of Peoria Heights, for 250 years. whereas the United States Marine Corps' roots go back to the establishment as the Continental Marines on November the 10th, 1775 in Philadelphia, with its initial missions during the Revolutionary War that created this nation, through World War II and some of our most brutal battles ever fought, through conflicts and challenges of the present. Whereas the United States Marine Corps has some 170,000 active duty members across the globe, with 33,000 reservists, more than a few of them right here in the Peoria area. Whereas among the Marine Corps veterans in Central Illinois, one Dale Miller, who has lived in or near Peoria Heights for more than 50 years, served as the United States Marine Corps from 1967 to 70, while rising to the rank of corporal, experienced combat in the Vietnam War, and is now commandant in the local detachment of the Marine Corps League that operates right out of Navy Marine Club, 1310 East Cyberlane Avenue in Village. Whereas once Marine, always Marine, forever faithful to God, country, and the Corps, while being synonymous with the concepts of courage, competence, and creativity under unimaginable fire. And we, the Village Board and Mayor of Peoria Heights, hereby proclaim the month of November as the United States Marine Corps Month in the village, while expressing great pride in our local association with the Marine Corps and eternal gratitude for the service and sacrifice of all of those who defended our nation. Semper Fi, signed Mayor Matt Wigginton, dated November 4th, 2025. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not accustomed to speaking in public, but I'll say a couple of words here. For all of us here, these are all of my officers in the detachment here in Peoria Heights, save one. He's having trouble. His wife is in the hospital, so he can't be here. So, but this means a lot to us, because doing what we do because we want to is it's just something that we would do all over again, or at least I would. I think just about everybody here would. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, trustees. I appreciate this very much, and Semper Fi.
Thank you all, and wise move. Okay. So with that, we're down to old business. Is there any old business to come before the board? Hearing none, we'll get right into new business under Trustee Steinwedel. Discussion of a referendum question regarding Resolution 2025-15, a resolution approving City of Peoria Fire Department automatic aid agreement. Trustee Steinwedel?
Do we need a motion on this one?
No, this is a discussion item only.
All right. I'll let somebody else lead this discussion off if you want to.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Go ahead, but I'll go after you.
No, go ahead.
So I feel that some of us that have been on this board longer have really wanted to move forward with a referendum to the people. It has been talked about for 6 years now, a little redundantly, and we've never been able to come to an agreement on how the verbiage should be. I do have like 3 different verbiages that have kind of been like presented to me. And the one I think that fits the best and stays the most neutral the main leading part of it came from Trustee Kazam after speaking with her today. And so for myself, I would like to put forward that the referendum question would read, shall the Village of Peoria Heights pay the City of Peoria Fire Department for automatic aid in the 3 following emergency situations: vehicular extrication, structure fires, and cardiac arrest? I know that this has already been voted on and we are doing it, but There's been a lot of feedback that the people of the community want to have a say too, but I just like to remind my fellow trustees, this is a non-binding referendum, but will give us the opportunity to be able to hear what our constituents have to say about it.
Trustee DeVore, would you mind repeating that question
I would
again
love
for
to.
the record? Thank you.
Should the Village of Peoria Heights pay the City of Peoria Fire Department for automatic aid in the 3 following emergency situations: vehicular extrication, structure fires, and cardiac arrests?
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee DeVore. Any other comments or discussion on this item?
I'm comfortable with that wording. I think it's neutral. It asks the question, which is what's actually happening.
I agree. I'm
Um,
comfortable with it as well.
Yeah, we've been wanting to gauge the community on this very question, so I think it'd be a great opportunity.
I agree. Obviously, we've had conversations between the last meeting and today. I think it's important to hear from the residents. I feel very comfortable with the decision that we've already voted on personally, but I do think it's important to hear from the people that live in the village. And I guess I would just remind the community when they have the opportunity to do this. So we need.
Well, that is a good question, Trustee Kazan, because there will be 2 different opportunities. One is the primary election in March, and then there is the general election in November. Primary, and council, you can help me out. Primary elections generally are voting for those, it's a partisan election.
Correct.
And then the general election is more of an open.
Correct.
So I think if you are wanting to gauge the community, I've thought, I've looked into this, it depends on what election you would want to put the question to.
So,
There's a higher voter turnout in the November election though, correct?
That is correct.
I would like to point out that on the wording of that referendum question, that leaves out about 50% of the value of that agreement in the training. Dealing with the operations of this fire department since I've come on here, I will tell you that the value of that training is something that, frankly, I don't think we can live without.
I would not be unopposed to adding that as well.
I will tell you, and just to be frank and open about this, if you start to look at our history with our fire department and on the fires, start looking at how many times AMTs had to check out our firefighters. I asked, when we had the Pete's Works fire, we had to have a firefighter checked out. He had full academy, but he didn't have we don't have the consistent training and the stress inoculation to go with that continues through somebody's career here. And as a result of that, tanks of air, from my understanding, are supposed to last about 10 to 14 minutes. He was out in a few minutes. He ran out in the fire, came out disoriented. AMT was called by the fire chief on the scene to have him checked out. So that is something that I have discussed with Peoria Fire to address in the training that we will have upcoming with this. And they said that's not an issue. That is something that they address in their own firefighters.
so I think if we want to include the third question, should we train with the city of Peoria, that's fine. But if we add the training to this, we're not paying them for training. There's no line item that says we're paying X amount of dollars for training. This question asks the citizens of Peoria Heights, should we pay the city of Peoria for mutual aid? So I think if you start adding and there's no line items or any way to
Well,
differentiate what we're paying for, it's a loaded question that starts to be nonsensical.
I want to refer back to what Council Mark had shared as well. If you get it too wordy, people are going to overlook that question as well, and sometimes they ignore it. It looks like a paragraph. I'd like to keep it as simple as possible, but direct. And I feel that the verbiage that Trustee DeVore shared is.
But that's something that directly results, that is half
has
of the
to be
battle
neutral.
with this agreement,
But that's
is that it gives us the training to keep our firefighters safe, to make sure that we aren't getting somebody hurt in the middle of this. And I think to me, Peoria has not offered to do that training. They will do some training, let us use the tower when available. But like Chief Sentes has just recently experienced, they have him doing command training over their new recruits, and in the fire tower, I don't know how many days you've spent there, 5 or 6 days, and on top of it, a house that they smoked up down in Peoria somewhere. You know, this is training that is, it's a multi-million-dollar training facility. We simply just don't have that access to something at that level, at that consistency. And so that is half the battle of this. And frankly, Peoria Fire, one of the parts of this discussion with them was the fact that if they're going to be working hand in hand with us, they want us to be successful along with them, because it does them no good to have firefighters go into a fire and become somebody another person that they have to pull out there. So what they wanted to do is elevate our level of training so that we can work hand in hand with them. So that is half of this agreement. That is something that goes hand in hand with this automatic aid stipulation, because they are going to be working with us as a neighboring agency should.
Trustee Simon, I don't feel that in a sentence we can emulate everything that you've just said, right? Like we are receiving a lot of amazing training and things like that from the city of Peoria, but I don't think that can be related into this without it being like some huge long paragraph, right? So I believe that there's an education component to this that I feel that for the trustees that feel passionate in the way that they voted on the original agreement, it is our job to, like, you know, educate the people on why we voted the way that we did. So, you know, if you want the vote to stay the way that it is, it can stay that way. So I think we're never gonna be able to emulate the blessing or like the amount of power behind the amount of training that our firefighters are getting just by putting it in this sentence. So I don't know how we come to a happy medium where you feel comfortable with it, but then also we aren't leading the question and we are still trying to emulate what, you know, that is a benefit.
Sure. You know, I mean, if you wanted to ask the question honestly, do you want Peoria to be automatic aid for these three as well as assist in training our firefighters? You know, but here's the other part of this. You know, the referendum discussion has always been, should our fire department be contracted out to the city of Peoria, which is a resounding no with this board. There is no ulterior motive to get Peoria involved. Frankly, if Peoria wanted to force our hand at something, they would stop the aid that they're giving. They would slow everything down. They would go by the one truck for Mavis, because you have to remember, Mavis is an agreement. It is not signed here, now we demand this. Mavis is you have to have two consenting parties to have an agreement, and that's what Mavis is right now. And we already have fail-safes in place. You know, we've got quarterly reviews with in front of the entire board. And so I think if we look at that and maybe put this off until the November, I don't have a problem with it, because frankly, I feel as though the community is going to be behind us on this. But give us to the November election where we have more people that show up, right? And we have a system in place. We've already had a review of what's actually happening. I think that's only fair, because right now, in good conscience, I can't say, I want the community to make a decision on something that they've heard all sorts of things about, and you said it right, there needs to be education on this. When, you know, I look at the fire department as, I hate to say it, but I look at it as Austin, Ben, Carl, these are friends. I mean, these are people. And to say that, no, you know what, I'm gonna, in the place of votes, I wanna go ahead and just give up the backup that you need. You know, I think we should just give up the training that you need, you know, because I don't wanna lose favor with somebody in the public. Frankly, I'm not gonna do that. I'm never gonna trade votes for the safety of my community. I refuse to do that.
Well,
Mayor.
okay, I spoke really quickly, and I think the training obviously is incredibly important. But you make a very good point, Trustee DeVore. We need to keep this concise and to the point, and we came in here with verbiage that I think we all agree with.
Yep.
You know, address that. Maybe part of the education that I think is very important to the community is just articulating that there is a very important part that is being left out of this verbiage, and it's the training. I don't know. But let's first maybe decide on what ballot to put it on. I mean, that's one thing.
I agree, Trustee Kazam, and just a few things, Mayor, that were said a moment ago. Mavis is not just one truck. We've had fires that I've personally witnessed. The one in Longshore on it was on Robin Court. For those who live down at Longshore, the Tomato Man's house, Peoria had Longshore was more Peoria City trucks than houses that night, and that was a Mavis response. So it's not just one, and same for the Forest Park apartment fire. Peoria did not send one truck, they sent a lot of trucks. So the Mavis agreement does not say only one truck is coming. That is inaccurate, because I've personally seen Peoria fill a neighborhood with trucks with the Mavis response. And one of the things I'm worried about if we add more verbiage to this question is I don't want it to be a mouthpiece for Peoria. Because if we start saying what's positive about it, we should also include what's negative about it. Like the fact that no other town pays for mutual aid, automatic or otherwise. So I would really like to keep it to the question, should we pay the city of Peoria for mutual aid for those three emergencies? You know, what Peoria throws in to make it look better or more digestible or whatever is irrelevant. The question is, should we pay the city of Peoria for mutual aid? That's the question I think we should ask the citizens of Peoria Heights. And I agree on the education part. I think we should continue to educate them on what comes along with this. And I think we have, you know, the Village Post have been pretty educational. But, you know, the main question here is, should we pay the city of Peoria for mutual aid?
I have a question. Chief Sanchez, how many times, we've had it for about a month now, right? The new agreement?
It's not in effect yet.
It's not even in effect yet? Okay. How many times has Peoria responded just this past month?
Last night was one of them.
Okay.
And then the time before that was probably about 2.5, 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so probably twice in the last month? Yeah. Okay, and then you're going to these trainings, it's not even in effect yet, and you're already going to the trainings?
Yes,
Has anybody else attended trainings other than you?
not at this time.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to correct one thing, the one truck situation. I asked that question because when I was at the police department, we had the same thing. We had, you know, multiple Peoria trucks show. The difference is with this automatic aid, they're sending the Army, right? You're gonna have multiple trucks. You need 4 trucks minimum to fight a structure fire. You need a minimum of 12 firemen. And so to get to those numbers, we need to have 4 trucks to 5 trucks on scene. With that being said, you'll have multiple trucks, but what's gonna happen is the one truck's going to respond with the battalion chief. They're then gonna turn around and say, this situation isn't safe, and they're gonna request more of their own trucks, because I'll tell you right now, battalion chief would rather look at the Mavis agreement and break the Mavis agreement than lose one of his firemen, because they see that the situation's unsafe. How many chiefs do we have to look at and say, you know, these are professionals. I mean, these are guys with decades of experience, professional training. They're saying this situation's unsafe. You know, I have to take their word on it. You know, it's just like if I get sick or somebody else here gets sick, you don't Google it. You go to the professionals. You ask what should be done. You know, the other thing about the paid agreement, I'm not sure where this lack of paid agreement thing is coming from. East Peoria did the same thing. They annexed part of Northern Tazewell Fire Protection District's area, and they had a lack in coverage, just as we have a lack in coverage right now when it comes to structure fires. So they have paid. I think they were paying $74,000 a year. And that agreement was executed between Northern Tazewell and East Peoria, I want to say I don't have it in front of me, but it was maybe 2017, 2018, somewhere in there, 2019. And there's multiple other situations like that you're going to find throughout the state. You know, automatic aid, when we see, you know, you can find where it's gone, where they've had a bad situation, but, you know, at the same time, it was eloquently brought up in the last meeting by one of the citizens that Peoria is tight financially. They are not a charitable organization, and they're not going to just donate 3 trucks automatically to every time we have a structure fire call.
For lack of time, I won't comment, but were you going to say something?
No, I just think we have a lot of different moving parts to this, like, so I think, like, do we agree on the verbiage that is presented about mutual aid, about the referendum question? I think that's one, and then we need to decide which election we want to put it on.
I would like to see it on the March 17th election, because I know that those feel confident in how they want to vote on it, will show up to vote.
I would be more in favor of the November election, because I think there will be a higher voter turnout.
Absolutely. One of the things I worry about is, you know, you have to declare whether you're a Republican or Democrat during a primary. Well, majority of people aren't neither. So are they not gonna show up because they're not Democrat or Republican and they don't wanna poll either
Noted.
ballot?
Yeah, that's noted. Thank
So
you.
that's my concern. I'd prefer the March as well, because it's quicker.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I worry that I want more than just Democrats and Republicans weighing in on this.
Also, just to kind of point out, it is November now, but as Chief Sentis has said, we haven't even actually started this agreement. So if we don't start it till January and then the vote is in March, that also limits the time of review that we have and the constituents have to see how it's actually working for us. So I don't know if that provides an unfair advantage as well by doing it in the March election.
So we're not currently paying Peoria for responding to these past incidents?
No.
That's a no?
It's no.
Okay.
So for consideration in terms of which election, with the partisan primary, the March 17 election, you know, a lot of the turnout is driven, I think historically at those primary elections, you have less turnout than you do at the general election in November. Clearly, the numbers are going to be lower, but the turnout is also driven by, you know, each party has, you know, either candidates that are running against another candidate in that party or not. You know, I don't know your voting habits, but, you know, a lot of times, if there's no contested race on a Republican side, Republicans are gonna be less likely to show up. Same with Democrats. I'm not picking on the Republicans, you know, so if there are no contested races in a particular party, that even pushes, you know, the turnout lower, not to mention that it's on a holiday.
And Mark, to
St.
that
Patrick's Day.
point, right,
Yeah.
they just published the people running, and
100%.
there are no
Democrat.
local races that are contested in the primary. So you're right, there would be minimal.
I think it will be historically low. I mean, if you look at the factors that drive turnout, it would seem that that's probably, and I only say that because you know, the whole point of this exercise is to get as much input from the public as possible. And this election, you know, the March election seems ill-equipped to provide that input. So it's just a consideration. I'm not trying to drive your decision, but it's something to consider. It also bears repeating, I think I said this at the last meeting, this is not the exclusive mechanism for getting public input. So it should be a piece, and perhaps a valuable piece, maybe the most valuable piece, but website, you know, there's all kinds of ways to get input from the public that you should, you know, consider in tandem with this, as opposed to this is the exclusive vehicle for hearing from the public. So
Absolutely, I would,
that's just my
Thank you, I
soapbox.
appreciate that.
absolutely, I would agree with him. And, you know, I would be open, Mr. Mayor and Chief Sentis, if you wanted to do, have a forum in here where people came to ask questions. I'm not opposed to that one bit. You know, nothing that we have is super secret or anything like that. I believe this is just an education piece. When I started in on this topic, I was not for doing anything with Peoria. But the more I looked at it, the more facts I looked at, the more cases that I looked at, and the reports that I reviewed, and Chief Ahart knows the CAD sheets I pulled to look at times and everything like that, I had no choice but to make a decision that was in the best interest of my community. And I think this is just all about the education of this. So I'm open to having, like our council is saying, another avenue to discuss this with people. I mean, if somebody brings up another great option to meet the needs of getting enough firefighters on scene, if somebody can come up with that, I'm all ears, right? If they can figure out a way to get the training, get the firefighters there, and it keeps all of our dollars in our village, all ears. I will 100% look into that with open arms and more than likely go with it. But the fact of the matter is, we keep going over and over and over this with multiple professionals, and this is where we're winding up.
So let me, and I'm sorry,
No,
and I
go
will get back to you, I promise, Trustee Simmons. So, from what I'm hearing, we do want a referendum. Do we want it in March, or do we want it in November?
November.
November.
Okay, so that's a unanimous. So with that being said, the urgency of this discussion drops significantly. So,
It does, but I don't want to, we've done this before.
Yeah, so like I almost want us like
Yeah.
decide it. Because this has happened so many times in the last 6 years. Like, we're here, like, we agree on this verbiage, I think we need to check the box.
I would like
have
to,
an
yeah, I would
action
like
item
to, ask the question, and I'm okay with trustee Kazam's verbiage on what trustee DeVore read previously. I think that is the question,
I agree.
without loading it negative or positives, and I'm comfortable with that.
I would like to ask, when is the referendum, or excuse me, not referendum, but when is the resolution that we discussed prior to going to be signed? And should we have that forum prior to that signature?
We certainly have time to hold a forum. I need to draft up a resolution, and so, we'll have the language in front of us at a meeting, just like any other meeting where we have ordinances and resolutions in front of us. It can always be changed up to the point where it's adopted.
And then if there's no other negotiation, like if Peoria wanted to add something to it or change something, then it would come back to the board for another vote, correct?
Now you're talking about the agreement, not
The resolution.
yes, she's,
okay.
so
I'm talking
the,
resolution, the fire resolution.
the fire
Okay.
resolution has passed.
Right, but it has not been signed yet, so we're not paying them yet, is what I was told earlier.
Right.
So I'm just trying to make sure I understand the timeline.
But we
on
did
that.
adopt a resolution approving and authorizing entry of an agreement for, this very specific coverage at very specific amounts. So that, I don't know where that is in the process, but that will be put through.
Okay.
I was talking about a resolution to put the ballot question on the ballot.
Sorry, Mark,
That
for my
will
confusion, I
be an
apologize for
agenda
that.
item
Okay.
to be voted on, and just like any other agenda item,
Okay.
amendments and changes to the wording can be offered on the night that it's voted on.
That agreement's being reviewed now, and I should have something by the end of the week.
Thank you. Thank you, Administrator Sutton. Are we voting tonight, Mayor?
This is not an action item.
Got it.
Just at our next board meeting.
But I am looking for some direction, because
Yeah.
I will make it an action item.
Right. I think
And I
that-
have the language that we've talked
Yes.
about, so.
I agree with the verbiage that trustee DeVore, Kazam, Weisenberg, Reichert, and everybody here mentioned.
So we would like it at the next board meeting
Yeah.
for the November election.
Would it be possible to move this to the first 90-day review of this agreement that we have in place?
What, the ballot question?
Yeah. I
No,
mean-
we want the ballot question.
We want the
We've
ballot
been wanting it
question.
for 6 years. We want the
Okay.
ballot question.
Yeah.
But I also, just talking about the training component, so November election, we like the way the question is worded. We will make it an agenda item, we will vote on that, and then also we will do some other type of educational, whether it's a website or an open forum here at Town Hall. I think that's important as well. If people
Absolutely.
have questions, they can ask us, and those questions can be answered.
Absolutely. I think that's extremely important.
So are
is
we
to-
bringing it to the next meeting for the
Yeah,
vote?
I mean, that's,
Okay.
I'm hearing a resounding, that'll be at the next meeting.
Great. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll proceed to the approval of a request for the Chamber of Commerce funding in the amount of $30,000 annually. Trustee DeVore?
I make a motion to approve a request for the Chamber of Commerce of funding.
Second?
Can I modify it now? Do you want me to modify it now?
I
or-
think this would be the time.
Okay. I'm like, I didn't know
So,
if I need to make a motion to
do you
modify.
want-
I would like to take out the annually. I would like to do this as I would like to approve the request for the Chamber of Commerce funding in the amount of $30,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee DeVore, a second by trustee Reichert to approve Chamber of Commerce funding for the amount of $30,000.
I see the
Stephen
chamber
Cook, yeah.
president here.
Stephen here.
Can I ask him some?
Well, we could have
Questions regarding this?
Chamber President Cook coming up to the podium if you would.
Great.
I was going to do that.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I had a lead up, but it's fine. Go ahead, Stephen.
Well, I mean, and that being said, it is trustee DeVore's motion, so Trustee DeVore, if you want to lead off, you're welcome to.
I just wanted to say that, first of all, thank you, Mr. Cook, for everything that you've done for the Chamber of Commerce. Being a business owner and a trustee, I've seen a definite turnaround in the Chamber of Commerce since you have been at the helm, so we appreciate that. To my fellow trustees, I want to point out that this is not a budgeted item, and thanks to Administrator Sutton, he was able to pull the funds from this out of professional services as we're coming a little bit closer to the end of our budget year to pay for it. Why I'm voting in favor is because I do think that supporting the chamber and our business district is important. However, this is a hefty bill, given all the other things that we do have in front of us to pay for. So that's not being taken lightly. The reason I removed the annually is because I would like us to review this again at our budget time to see where we're sitting in the fiscal budget for next year, as well as to be able to hear from the chamber again and see kind of where the money has gone, how it has been beneficial. And once they use these funds for what they're doing it for, we should be receiving a lot of data back on the return on investment for that. So I don't want it to not seem transparent that I'm not willing to give the chamber money into the next fiscal budget, but that currently, just due to the past, I need to see, you know, what's gonna happen and review it in the next fiscal budget. But I do have high hopes for what you're doing and, you know, a newfound partnership, not only with the village, but also potentially the school district, the library, and things that we discussed while we sat together. So that's where I stand on it, and we'd love to hear anything you have to say as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was one of our primary focuses when I stepped into the role as president, was to kind of fix that lack of transparency and rebuild this kind of environment of accountability. So absolutely, you know, I think this is a great idea. We wanted to provide that to you guys anyways, but this gives us a set action item to where, you know, it will be provided, period, no matter what. So I'm very welcome to that.
I like it. I like the transparency. I like the accountability. It's not our money. But I think at the same time, looking at this project, I'm amazed at it. And if this works out, this is going to be a game changer, I think, for our businesses in the Heights. I think this is just going to be a wonderful investment, and it's going to be a good, productive relationship with the chamber again. And I think it's a win-win all the way around, but accountability, I think, I agree with Trustee DeVore, accountability is important, and transparency, so.
I agree with that as well, Trustee Steinwedel. And I just want to point out, and maybe President Cook can speak to this tool that you are building to promote the Village of Peoria Heights and our Small Business Association is going to take some months to build, right? So it's, you might want to speak to that a little bit, because it is a data collecting and driver of business to the village, but it's not just going to be turned on as soon as you get the first payment. It's going to take a little bit of time to build.
Yeah, absolutely. So in you guys' packet from, I believe it was the previous meeting, we had a estimated timeline from the app developer. Excuse me. And I believe it was around 3 to 4 months for complete build out. Now, part of the biggest aspect of that is not necessarily the build out, but the marketing of it. We don't just need to get a functioning app, we need to actually promote it so that people download it. So that's going to take about as long as actually developing it. So that's kind of the time frame we're looking at, is about 3 to 4 months, somewhere around there.
Can you come back and regularly, or email, or keep us updated, like once the app goes live in the App Store and Google Play, like can you let us know? Because I also think that we can be influential in putting that out as well, right?
Yeah.
Like we have to work together. So individually and as the village, on the village website and social media, it'd be beneficial, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. The app developer's not here tonight,
That's
so
okay.
I can't speak directly to what he does, but for the developer of my personal website, I get monthly reports from them saying, here's your, you know, clicks, here's how many people clicked multiple links, here's the amount of time people spent on this. I would assume he has something very similar that can get sent out to you guys as well.
And Trustee DeVore and Trustee Weisenberg, just for the, you know, as a reminder to our community, when we first came on board here, we were paying the Chamber of Commerce $30,000 a year. We had been doing that for, I'm not sure exactly how long, Administrator Sutton would probably know. So this is not this was something that was happening for some time. We kind of went a different direction for a while, and then now, after this wonderful bridge-building relationship that you've worked really well to restore the confidence in the local chamber, we're entering into again, hopefully.
President Cook, you mentioned, and Trustee Kazam, you also mentioned the data collected. Would the data be owned by the chamber, or would that be the village's data?
Yeah, that's a great question. So since we're developing it, I would say that it is fundamentally ours, but because we're in a partnership, I have no problem with us communicating that back and forth, as long as it's not gonna, breach any privacy laws or anything like that, which I'd have to refer over to council for that. But as long as it's not gonna violate anything, then absolutely, we're very willing to share that.
And what kind of data will you be pulling?
Yeah, so it would be number of people that are, opening the app, number of people that are clicking the pop-ups, number of people clipping coupons, saving favorite restaurants, favorite shops, that type of thing as well.
Do you use any cell phone data from like geolocated and anything like that?
Yeah, so we're using geofencing technology for this, so we will get a hit on like anytime someone that has the app downloaded that allows notifications, anytime they enter one of the bubbles, so like the So Chic bubble or the Slow Hand bubble or any of those kind of areas around there, we'll be able to capture that data as well. So it should also help, kind of on the backside of traffic flow and analysis like that.
I'm concerned about the build out of the app and then the implementation, trying to attract, advertise for the app, and making sure that, to Trustee DeVore's comments, that you have enough time to prove your concept, to show the return on investment before our next budget period. I'm just concerned the timeline may be difficult for you to make.
So our app developer has done this several times before. He was the one that created the app for Junction City. So we already have the bones, basically, of it. We just need to kind of dress it up to make it Peoria Heights and specific. So this app isn't something we're building absolutely from scratch. He already has this fundamentally done. It just needs personalized for us. So that's going to significantly cut down the turnaround time on the app development. The biggest push, I think, is going to be the marketing side, trying to alert people that, hey, we have something amazing. Several of the business owners that I've talked to are already fully on board with it and are excited about it. They want to be featured. They want to have their data out there, their sales, their events, everything like that. So I don't think we're going to have as much of a problem with that, especially if we can get business owners on board with promoting it themselves as well.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, it will build over time. I mean, that's just natural, but I hope that we as a village would do as much as we can to help promote the usage of this. So if it's on our own personal website, on social media, that type of thing as well.
And we'll be using our events to promote it as well, with little giveaways of, hey, download our app and you'll be entered for a drawing or something like that as well. So all of our 3 events throughout the course of the year, we're going to be promoting it very, very heavily at those events as well, which we have thousands of people turn out for those.
Mayor, maybe I misspoke. When I said that at our next budget year, the return on investment, that I was not expecting a full view of return on investment by our next fiscal budget. But I guess seeing that the chamber is moving in the right direction for it, but reviewing it annually instead of just automatically assuming it annually, I feel like shows us the return on investment every year without it just automatically being a line item in the budget. So maybe I misspoke on my thought process with that.
Right, and I know that the only thing that I'm cautious about is that this board, we previously did similar service with Discover Peoria, and at the top of that agreement, we were at $25,000 annually. So this is obviously more than that, but I think having those numbers and that data should be able to justify the expense, because I think that was problematic previously as well.
I firmly believe we'll do a much better job.
Okay.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah, just looking at this app, the accountability seems to it's not going to be an issue, I don't believe, on this at all, so.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions, or comments on this item? Hearing none, Clerk Turner, would you call the roll?
Trustee Steinwaddle?
Aye.
Trustee Kazam?
Aye.
Trustee Simmons?
Aye.
Trustee DeVore?
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Aye.
Trustee Riker?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Sir, that would be for the amendment?
No, the motion was made with the,
The amendment in it, okay.
okay, we are down to water with Trustee Simmons. Approval of lead service line fiscal year 2026 proposal. Trustee Simmons?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm requesting approval of requests for the lead service line fiscal year 2026 proposal. Everyone received that. Would you like for me to?
Is this some action item?
It is an
Yeah.
action item.
Okay.
So we'll just ask for a second.
Second.
Ask for a second? Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Simmons and a second by Trustee Weisenberg, and then back to you, Trustee Simmons.
Thank you. You all have it in front of you, the proposal for design and construction services for year 2026, lead service line replacement here in the Peoria Heights. We are all familiar with, I hope, how smoothly this last process went for the lead line service replacements. We had 132 replacements done with no cost to the residents. That's 178 investigations. But to speak forward with this, Mark Lee is here if he wants to help with any questions, but if I may read from the Woodard and Curran background proposal. The Illinois Lead Service Line Replacement Notification Act, LSLRNA, requires owners and operators of the community water supplies to deliver an updated material inventory of the composition of all service lines within their distribution systems to the IEPA annually, no later than April 15th. They've provided us a scope of work, tasked with design and bidding, hoping that, I think Woodard and Curran mentioned that they're trying to get this bid out to the contractors by the first week of December. They are proposing a total fee of $250,000 for this contract. And it will probably take anywhere up to 4 months to provide that service.
Trustee Simmons, where's this money coming from?
This money is in our budget, but we have grants that are going to be requested for the lead line service line. Let me pull my documents here I'll give you a breakdown on the budget.
I'm just curious as to how many tax dollars we're putting towards this 250 and how much.
Well, we have a summary of grants that we are requesting. The Illinois EPA lead service line replacement phase 2 would be $3,027,000 to $2,465,000 in principal forgiveness, which would be $562,000 in loan funding. Construction expected start in spring 2026. I hope that helps answer your questions because we are securing loans.
And you've
or
had
grants for
tremendous
this.
success.
Yeah.
I mean, up to this point. they've
Total
had-
funding received to date is $13,830,000. Forgiven grant was $11,868,000. Loans, which would be low or no interest, would end up being $1,962,000.
So for tonight, they're asking for $250,000, correct?
That is
Is
correct
that
for the
coming out of-
proposal, and this is phase 1 of the process, there's gonna be phase 2 of the process to hire Woodard and Curran once again to implement the process,
Sure.
the engineering of the
Is this coming out of general fund or out of a grant?
water grant, the water fund,
So this is coming out of our water
yeah,
fees? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So there's no tax dollars going into this? Right, because the water infrastructure is funded by water rates, not taxes. Question for you, Trustee Simmons.
Yes.
This $250,000, does that include the actual line replacements? Or is this just investigating and getting to the point where we move on to the replacements? Is this phase 1?
This is scope of
Ah,
service
that's what I
from
thought.
Woodard and Curran to do the process. They're gonna do the bidding and contracting requirements, the technical
we did.
specifications.
But we did complete the other one. So we made
This
all-
is essentially what they
Construction.
did this year for us.
construction
was-
We just
administration,
need to let
inspections.
trustee
One-
Weisenberg
one
know when
at a
we
time,
hit each
please.
phase.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So, sorry, trustee.
To
Simmons.
answer, the description of work is fiscal year 26 lead service line replacement for $250,000. Design and bidding is included in this cost, and construction, administration, and inspection is included in this cost for the $250,000.
So this is basically like a project management fee for $250,000.
Engineering for the process of the lead service line
This
replacement,
includes,
yes, that is correct.
this includes the engineering?
Engineering and.
The company that will
Okay.
seek out bids from contractors. I'm not sure how
Right.
else I can explain this, but there is a scope of work here, what exactly they've done.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying bidding, award, construction administration, inspection, I'm not saying engineering or.
They're gonna reach out to the IEPA, make sure that we move forward with the projects. It is a management process. And-
Trustees, this is design-wise, this is a pretty simple project. The
Yep.
majority of the
Sure.
fee is a construction inspection. EPA has some pretty strict requirements of what they have to see for these replacements, so the
Okay.
majority of the fee is just them on-site and handling all the paperwork back to IEPA.
Okay, so this is just the administration of the funds that were being given through.
If you look
For
under
lead line. Okay.
task 2, construction administration and inspection, it does say they will provide a part-time resident engineer to assist the village with the inspection of the contractor's work, contractor's compliance, and the requirements of the contracted documents.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
the
were
design is
very-
pretty much, we have a standard replacement, go fix those.
Sure.
And so that's pretty simple. It's the construction where it gets pretty bad. The design and bidding, design is mainly getting just the overall, this is what we're gonna do, and then getting the permits to IEPA, they have to get permits in. Then once that's done, then they have somebody out. So it's, this is all through the water fund, you're right, there's no tax, this is through your user fees.
Okay.
And then this actually gets put into, hopefully it's forgivable loan, we don't know exactly how much IEPA gives us, but this all goes into one bucket, and we get as much money back as we can.
Okay, that makes sense.
Thank you, Mark, I appreciate it. I don't know if I was understanding your question as clear as I should have been, so I apologize for that, but
It's all right, all on the same team here.
Any other comments or questions on this topic? Mark, would you come up just back to the podium real quickly? So you and I had some discussions on this contract about the rate. Do you want to touch on a little bit of that?
Sure, so this is, I guess normally, and I think I've said this before, I generally like to see time and material or basically an hourly rate whenever it comes to construction. Kind of went back and forth with Woodard and Curran on this. This is the same proposal they basically have. It's not verbatim, but it's very similar to the one you had for this fiscal year, this calendar year. So they're just kind of doing a repeat for 2026. Normally, I like to see it hourly. On the same token, I get why this is just how they normally do all of their lead service lines, and this is not the only village. They have tons of villages where they do this work. They're a big company. They're just kind of doing what they always do. So they have a little bit of resistance to wanting to change it. I don't think you're getting hosed by any means. I just normally don't see it like that. So, but that's just their company policy. So I don't think it's a huge deal. If that's what the village is comfortable with, then I think you're fine. It's not as big of a deal as, say, like the Illinois 29 water main, where there's so much variability. They've done this a million times. They know about how much they're gonna spend on it. They're covering themselves. So I don't think it's a huge deal, but there was a bit of a back and forth because it's not how I would necessarily set it up.
I appreciate you updating the board on that.
I want to mention that Woodard and Kern was very instrumental in this last process. It went smoothly. There was just a couple bumps, but everything has been worked out, and I think it just is a good thing moving forward, knowing that they understand our systems. And I hope that everybody is on board with this.
Do we pay this exact same amount for this fiscal year, or this year?
Let me give you that.
I don't know it offhand.
I don't have that number
think it's
in
close.
front of me.
If it's not that exact number, I guarantee you it's very, very close.
Okay.
It
It was like
seemed- I know it was
200,000 or
200 something, I don't know if it was
Oh, no, I don't
250 or
think it
not.
was I wanna say it was
238.
238,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that sounds right.
Okay, I'm ready.
Any other questions or comments?
I have that, I don't know where it's at.
It sounds like
Ready
everyone's
for the
satisfied,
question, Mayor.
Yeah.
Trustee Simmons, so
I can get that number, though. But go ahead, thank you.
I think we can move forward. So, With that being said, hearing no more comments or questions on this item, Clerk Turner, would you call the roll?
Trustee Steinwaddle?
Aye.
Trustee Kazam?
Aye.
Trustee Simmons?
Aye.
Trustee DeVore?
Aye.
Trustee Weisenberg?
Aye.
Trustee Reichert?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We are down to miscellaneous business. Is there any miscellaneous business to come before the board?
Just a quick clarification. So the March ballot, the tax question, the November ballot, the fire question.
Presuming, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait,
Do we-
sorry,
that's what we had-
you said March for the tax question?
Yeah,
and
because that's what we agreed to last time.
That is correct.
Okay. I was just curious. So we have the March and then the November. So a reason to show up to both.
There you go.
But if we're gonna go on the theory that we're trying to get the most people, like, does it make sense to keep it on the March or move it to the November?
I see.
It is up to this board if they would want to change that by resolution. The only difference in your proposal, Trustee DeVore, is that the March election, specifically on the grocery tax, allows for response before the grocery tax would
Goes into
come
play.
into effect. If you waited to the November election, then the motion that this board passed over veto would come into effect before the election, so, or before the ballot question. So
Thank you
that's
for
the difference.
clarification.
I was just curious because I didn't.
It was on mine too, I wrote it.
I couldn't remember which we decided. And I typically don't show up to the primaries, but I am this year or next year.
Fair enough, Trustee Weisenberg. Any other miscellaneous business to come before the board?
I would like to give the fire department and Chief Sentes props. Halloween night, Chief Sentes donated quite a bit of his own, he, I guess raises some cattle, and he donated some meat for chili. And I would say probably had, 4 large roasters full of chili, was given out in 1 hour and 20 minutes. They also distributed about 100 pounds of candy with the police department at the fire station. From what I saw, it looked like there were several thousand people that came through there. And it was a great event, and it was great to see about half the fire department show up and volunteer time to our community and see that go down. So hats off to Chief Sentes and the job that our fire department ran with our police partners that night, and it was great to see that. Another thing that Chief Sentes and I are kind of working on behind the scenes is we've got, when I came into this position, we didn't even have personnel files yet, right? So we were working just to kind of clean that up, and the question started to become, what's the history of the fire department? And turns out that they do have the original charter in the basement from July 2nd, 1917. That charters the Peoria Heights Fire Department. And so one of the things, I've kind of donated my own money to this, and I worked with Chief Sentes on this, is we've taken the photos that we have in-house and we've digitized them. We're kind of naming it the Peoria Heights Fire Department Heritage Project. I know there's a lot of interest in the history of the Heights, but if there's anybody in the public that has some photos, we would love to get a hold of those. We'll get them back to you if you'd like, or if you have memorabilia or things like that that we can display, we're more than happy to do that, depending on the wishes of the owner. But we are trying to document the fire department. We've got pictures that go back to the 20s. I know some of them are dated, some of them are dated from 1931. I'll kind of put out a video so the public can kind of enjoy those photos. But we've only got, I think it's almost 23 or 24 photos is the entire history of our fire department that we have. So if we're asking for some help from the public to try to fill in those gaps. Fire departments are as American as apple pie and part of our history. So it'll be cool to kind of see what comes to the door, and we'll kind of keep people updated on it. And any help that I could get would be appreciated.
Trustee Reichert and I had a great time setting up a kind of temporary pop-up historical exposition last year in Exhibit A, and I know that she is a great collector of memorabilia.
Don't forget Mayor Wigington helped.
Oh, yeah, and sorry, Mayor Wigington as well. I apologize, Mayor. So she would be a great resource.
Absolutely, and we're going to be you know, talking to all the fire chiefs and you know, the people that are around. I mean, we've got 108 years of history here. And obviously, some of the photos, I recognize some of the people, a lot of them I don't. But there are certainly people in the village that do, and if we can get some documentation on who's who, and kind of catalog that in a digital format, as opposed to just having some pictures on the wall downstairs, that'd be really cool.
Thank you, and nicely well said.
And Mayor, next Wednesday, at 9 a.m. here at Village Hall, we have Coffee with the Cop.
Perfect.
That was a great event last time we did it. It was well attended, so I'm looking forward to it next Wednesday, 9 a.m., right here, the 12th. Yeah.
Trustee Weisenberg, do you have any other updates from police?
I don't think I do. No. Everything's going well.
Okay. One question I have for the sign committee. I did attend Mayor Pitzel's funeral, and I want to compliment our police department for escorting Mayor Pitzel one last time to Swan Lake. And I know that was a combined effort with Peoria PD as well. So it was really well done. Actually all mayors, Mayor Phelan and Mayor Allen were all present and spoke at the funeral. So it was really a touching moment. So for the sign committee, I would like at our next meeting to have some resolution as to, because I did tell the family that our plan was to have a sign dedication in Mayor Pitzel's honor. So I'd like to have some report back from the sign committee at our next meeting. And then please work with Superintendent Chandler to have those signs ready ASAP.
We've
We
done some
were
work already
discussing
on this,
that,
yeah.
and I did make a call to Rick Pissel. We wanted to confer with him and his family to find out if there was a specific street that they would like to see that honorable sign placed here in the Heights. Maybe there was something that they thought would be a good recommendation for them.
Yeah, so if we could get that, some response back by next
Absolutely,
meeting.
we're working on that.
Thank
Yep,
you.
and I was just waiting to get some information, and
Okay.
thank you.
And just to gauge the board's opinion on this, so our current sign, honorary sign, is blue. And I think we should stay consistent with what the color is of the honor. I don't care what the color is, I think they all should be consistent.
Yeah.
I know there was, that we made the blue because of the school colors.
Right.
But I really think that if we do Mayor Pitzel's sign a different color, I think we need to change. I think they all need to be the
Yeah.
same color.
And I think they're blue in Peoria as well.
Right,
I
is
did
it-
go
is
back
it
and look.
The county, I mean,
Yeah.
is it, yeah.
So
They are blue in Peoria. Well,
Okay.
some of them, there's one downtown, I
the
forget.
one
which
we were at was, because I did go
Yeah,
back and
it
look.
is blue.
It
Yeah,
was
that one is blue.
So,
So I think if we're okay with the blue, I'm okay keeping it blue.
Yes.
Okay.
okay. Any other people's business tonight? Hearing none, we'll down to general comments from the audience. If you have a comment, please come to the podium, give your name, address, and try to keep your comments to 5 minutes.
I promise this month I will.
Okay.
Jody Ford, 4004 North Illinois. Before I begin, he was talking that East Peoria paid Northern Tazewell for mutual aid. That's incorrect. Per their resolution 1819-087, they paid $74,677 because they're a fire protection district. So the area that annexed, they continued to pay them to cover it, not mutual aid, not automatic aid. We are still the only place that does that. Now with what I wrote. Last meeting, I pointed out all the incorrect information that was stated about the fire department from Trustee Steinwettle. He discussed he could get the homeowner's insurance lowered. I want to let you know that's an incorrect statement. I don't know if he doesn't comprehend what he reads or he just changes things to his agenda. Per the ISO website, which is easy to check, is a scale from 1 to 10. The rating is factored by the emergency communication system, which is 10%. The fire department's staffing, training, and proximity, which also includes if his volunteer career, is a 50%. Your water supply system is 40%. Community outreach is 5.5 bonus points. Community outreach is what I was trying to point out last meeting on how you teach your residents. The fire department factor is only a portion of what determines your premium. Things like construction, age of the house, sprinkler system, your deductible amount, and the amount of coverage. But the biggest thing for the fire department rating, your premium decreases if you're under a 5 rating, but anything under 5 doesn't change. So rating 1 through 5 is the same premium. The Heights is already a 4 rating, so we would not change. Peoria cannot change. I mean, we're already under 5, the lowest, so I don't know what he's saying Peoria's contract lowers that. That's incorrect. I just want to point out, between last meeting, doing all the incorrect information from him, and this meeting, all the incorrect, people really should double check any information they get from him, because he's clearly not speaking truthful.
Are there any other comments to come before the board? Please, yes, come.
I'm Gary Goffinet. I live here in the Heights, 5029 North, or Lakeside Place. I had a question more than a comment about the lead pipes. Where are they found? How are they found?
So Gary, what I'll touch base, and Mark actually may be a good point person to talk to as well. After the meeting, he'll be able to.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, are there any other comments to come before the board? Comments going once, twice, comments are closed. Trustee Weisenberg?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn by Trustee Weisenberg, seconded by Trustee DeVore. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.